Okay, lost connection. Now we're back. All right, so now we're jumping on with Jordan. As soon as she pops up, I will invite her. And today she is going to share with us all about hashtags, how to use hashtags, and how to navigate censorship. So I don't want to say too much until she jumps on, so she can add in on that as well. There she is. All right, let me get you to join, Jordan. All right. Let's see if this works. So I just sent you the request to jump on. So, hi.
Hello.
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good. Happy Friday the 13th.
Yes. Happy Friday.
All
Well,
right.
can you see me okay? The lighting in here is like funky. I don't know. Can you see me okay?
I can see you just fine, yeah.
Okay, cool. Maybe it's just on my end.
Yeah, no, it looks good. Looks fine. And plus, it's about all the information that you're going to share anyway. So
Very true. Very
so,
true.
all right. So for those jumping on, this is Jordan Lang, super strategist and creator of Hashtag Hub. So she is an expert in the field of hashtags, and you just love hashtags. I know you talk about it all the time. You just love
I
them.
do. Yeah, I love them. And I know so many people are probably like, shut up, stop talking about hashtags. But I just can't help it. I love them so much.
Well, we need people to love them to help us to be able to
True.
use them effectively.
True.
Okay, so today we're
Yeah.
going over how to boost visibility with hashtags. You're going to share with us all that, and then navigating censorship with hashtags.
Yes.
So that block, is that block still going? It is. Last night I checked, it was still on for the U.S.
Yeah, still on for the US. As far as I know, there's no specific date on when that's going to be lifted. So, do you mind if I start chatting about the and then it kind of like segues into the censorship aspect of things. So,
Go for it.
I did write out some notes. I don't want it to be like super scripted. That tends to be my thing where I'm like, I gotta say this and then I gotta say this. So I'm trying to be more flexible and just kind of share. So for anybody joining us live or watching the replay, if you have any questions about what I'm sharing, please just ask. Like I said, I love talking about hashtags, so ask away. So I want to first talk about using hashtags to boost visibility because a lot of times, very like frequently asked questions that I get in regards to hashtags are like how to use them, how to bundle them, why do I even need them? Because sometimes people will use them or, but they don't know what they're doing really. So I kind of want to give 5 main tips on how to use hashtags to boost your visibility. And Cheri, if you have any questions at all, or you're like, hey, what about this? Feel free to just ask and I can expand a little bit. So first things first, what's really important is to know your niche versus your industry. A lot of times when people are like, my tags aren't working, I'm just talking to or like attracting people who do the same thing that I do, that's because you're using industry specific hashtags rather than niche specific hashtags. So there is like a big difference there. So when I have clients or people message me and they say that, I'm like, okay, well, who is your niche? And they're like, oh, well, I mean, so it's like if you don't have clarity on that, first of all, you need to go back to business basics and let's chat about that. Get really super clear and specific on who your niche is. And some questions that you can ask yourself are like on Instagram, where is your niche hanging out? What type of accounts are they checking out? What types of things are they interested in? And what is important to them? Are they advocates for something? Are they, really passionate about certain things that are going on or certain topics or that kind of thing, to where you can really target your hashtags to your niche, to where when they're engaging in hashtags or they're, looking up specific hashtags, then you're able to connect with them. Your content will pop up. You'll be seen by the people you want to see and speaking to the people you want to speak to. So that's where it's super important. Like some examples of that are, for me as an OBM, an online business manager, a strategist, things like that, I don't necessarily want to put hashtag online business strategist because more than likely I'm going to target other OBMs. And I don't want to, those are not my niche clients. That's
Right.
not who I want. That's not who I want to attract. So I'm in places like spiritual entrepreneur, witchy women, modern mystic. I'm in like plant mom because a lot of my clients love plants. So different things like that where I'm really speaking to my clients, especially when, and I'll get to this later on, but when I'm engaging in hashtags, those are the places I'm hanging out to and I'm connecting with my niche clients in that way. So if you don't know who your niche is, you don't know who you're talking to, more than likely your hashtag bundles aren't going to reflect that either. So really important to get clear on that. Yeah. Are there any questions on that that you have so
I don't
far?
have a question on that. I think that was pretty clear. If anybody else has a question on that, definitely ask, but I'm excited what else you have to say. I do have some questions coming up, but I want to see if you hit them first.
Okay. All right, cool. Sounds good. The next is when you are creating your hashtag bundles. So a hashtag bundle is on your Instagram post. You can use up to 30 hashtags. I recommend using all 30. The minimum amount I would say to use is 11. That seems to be all the articles, all the research and stuff that I've done. That seems to be like the magic minimum number. You don't want to do any less than that. But I recommend using all 30 because that is the potential for more people to see your content, right?
Right.
So when you're creating your bundles, you want to use a variety of hashtag sizes. So this is where some people, I think this is like the place where folks get really frustrated because they're like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. What do you mean different sizes? What does that even mean? I don't know. Because a lot of times, we'll just, and I used to do this when I was first putting bundles together. I would just hashtag whatever comes to mind.
Right, exactly.
I wouldn't do any research, but it really is important to do the research here. So when you're putting your bundles together, use a variety of different sizes. So these are, I'm going to share the numbers that I recommend. This is not like tried and true. I'm going to share this later too. Like there is no one size fits all. There is no like best way to do it. It really is trial and error and what works best for you. But this is what I recommend and this is what works best for me. So, okay, this is going to be like a lot of number type words, if that makes sense. Okay, so you want 5 to 7 hashtags that are size 0 to 50,000. So those are like your smaller, very niche specific hashtags, okay? And then you want 8 to 10 hashtags that are in the 50,000 to 100,000 size. Then you want 5 to 7 hashtags that are in the 100,000 to 300,000. So now we're getting into more medium sized, a little bit broader niche hashtags. And then you want 5 to 7 that are within the 30,000 to 500,000. So we're getting a little bit bigger here. And then you want 5 to 7 within the 500,000 and above sizes. How you can find that is when you go into the search bar on Instagram. You can do it from your phone or from your desktop. When you type in the hashtag, it'll give you the size of the hashtag. So what the size is that's the number of posts that have used that hashtag. So the reason you want a variety of sizes is because if you use the very large, like 500,000 and above, like into the millions, chances are the people you want seeing your posts, they're not going to see it because there's so many people using that hashtag the chances of your specific person seeing it is so slim. So if you're just using those really big ones, you're not going to get the right kind of eyes on your post. A lot of times, you know, you'll get people who are just like spamming or, you know, just like random people. So the more specific you can be with your hashtags, the better, especially if you are a brick and mortar business. Use location-based hashtags. That's so important. Oh my gosh. I know for me personally, if I'm like looking for like a hairstylist or, you know, a massage therapist or whatever, I'll search location-specific tags first before I do any sort of like Google search. I want to support small businesses. And so I know that's like, but there's so few people who are using them. And I think it's definitely doing them a disservice. So I highly recommend the location-based hashtags as well.
Definitely. Yeah. So just right off the bat, what was it? 2 tips with tips underneath those tips that you're seeing. Yeah. Hashtags are actually, I always find it funny when you talk to people who are like just starting out and then they're like, just throw hashtags. The work behind the scenes that goes into the hashtags is actually quite a bit of work. Yeah. So yeah, if you're thinking like, but that's a lot of work.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. And that's I think that's why so many folks don't do the work, is because it does take time. But that's one of those back-end business, non-negotiable, like treating your business like a business things, I think, to where if you're not making time to do your hashtags, like how serious are you about your business?
Right.
You know, and those are some like real talk type conversations you have to have with yourself, because it really is important to have these done. Like, it really is. So
yeah, it's how you grow, it's how you navigate Instagram. Yeah. It's the main way. And this is why you created hashtag a hub, which I'm gonna plug for you, and then you can speak all about it whenever you want. But like, all right, Jordan has taken this work and made it so much easier in her membership, which is hashtag hub, where she created all these different niches with hashtags that you constantly update with all the sizing, and you just go in there and you create your bundles instead of like blocking out time each to navigate, go through. I have notebooks of like them written down under sizes, and it turns into just this big old mess because you're like, I can't fit anymore, and you're writing it on the side, and then you go and create the new bundles. So she really helps with that, because she obviously, clearly you love hashtags, and then you put in all that work to make it easier on people.
Yes. Yeah, and that's where I did create it. So initially I created it for myself and for my clients that I was creating bundles for, because I wanted to save time and energy. Like, that's like the big thing, right? Like, we want to do the work. We need to do the work. It's important too. But let's save time and energy along the way, right? We don't we don't have to make it harder on ourselves. So yeah, I love hashtag hub. And this is actually this month is my 1-year anniversary of hashtag hub. So I've had it for a year, and it's super exciting. Thank you. Super exciting to see how much it's grown. I haven't looked yet. I'm planning to next week hop in and see like what I started with, how many tags and how many niche groups, to now like be able to compare and see a year later how much it's grown. So it's super exciting.
That is exciting. Okay, so we got know your niche, big time. Niche hashtags directed towards your niche, and then bundles and how to ladder them.
Yep, how to create them. So I want to share, this kind of segues into my third one, which is don't use the same bundle every time. That's another big, like, I don't want to say mistake. I don't think there's any mistakes in what we do, but a learning lesson for a lot of folks that I talk to is that they use the same bundle every single time that they post. The problem with that is that if you use the same hashtag bundle every single time, that's like a flag. It sends a flag to Instagram that you're a spam account. So because the algorithm is engagement based and all of that, if your account gets flagged, you're not going to get seen as much in your followers' news feeds because they're going to be like, is this really a real person? They just keep using the same hashtags over and over. So you want to make sure that you're using a variety of bundles. So when you're creating your bundles, you want to make sure that they are specific to your content. So if you speak on different medicine pillars, Natalie Bright calls them,
Yeah.
create bundles for those different topics, for those different things. So like for myself, I talk about hashtags. So I have bundles specific for hashtags. I talk about like authentic engagement. I use affirmations. So I have bundles specific for affirmations. I'm a mom, so I have bundles specific for like working moms, you know, so you want to have bundles that are specific to those different topics and content pillars that you are speaking on. That doesn't mean that they can't overlap a little bit, that some of your hashtags cannot be used like in, they don't have to be completely brand new bundles each time, but you want them to be specific to the content that you're speaking on. I use the example, like if you're a teacher, you're probably not going to use hashtags that are related to like travel unless you're like, but specific. Are you still there?
I'm still there. It paused for a second.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Your screen froze. I was like, oh no. But you want to use hashtags that are specific and create bundles that are specific to your content and also speaking to your niche. So that's where you want to make sure that you're not using the same hashtag bundle every single time that you're posting your content.
Awesome.
Yes, so that was number 3. Number 4, and this is probably one of my favorite things to talk about in regard to hashtags, is engagement. I hear all of the time, my tags aren't working, I hate hashtags. One of the reasons that I love them so much is the way that you can authentically engage with folks that are literally across the world from you. And I just think that is so incredible that we have that opportunity. A lot of the folks that currently follow me and that I follow, I've met them through hashtags. Like, I just think that's wild that I've been able to meet people like in Europe and in South America and in Australia, all because of engagement through hashtags. Like, I just think that is so incredible. That's, to me, that's why I love them so much, is because of the possibility, not just to grow our businesses with hashtags, but to create these authentic connections with other humans. I just think that is so powerful.
It really is.
Yeah. So not viewing it just as something that you have to include with your business, but seeing it for the potential that it has to, like, you know, what's the phrase that I'm looking for, the words that I'm looking for, like, positively impact the collective through hashtags. Like, that is the power that a hashtag has. And I feel like so many people don't understand that. So that's why I love sharing about it, truly. So some of the things that you can ask yourself when you go to engage with others, first of all, are you doing it? I know that there's so many people who don't. There's different types of engagement. There's warm engagement, which, I mean, if you think warm marketing, those are people within your market. You already know them. You already like connect with them. So people who are already commenting on your content and, you know, in your stories and everything else. Then you also have cold engagement, which is done through hashtags. Most folks are not doing that, I find. It can be a little intimidating. Myself, I come from an MLM background. So to me, when I first thought of like cold engagement, I'm like, hell no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to just like bring back these memories of like copying and pasting these like cringy messages. I mean, cringy now looking back. Nothing against MLM. but just, let's be authentic in the way that we're doing it. So you want to choose hashtags that your niche is hanging out in, like we talked about earlier, and just connect with them. Like, plug it in, search for it, and then just start scrolling through the recent posts. And there's energy in everything that we're doing, right? So when whether you know it or not, whatever energy you are sharing your content with, that is being felt by the folks who are seeing your content. So that's how I know, like, who I want to engage with is based on, like, the energy of the photo or the quote that's on their graphic or their look of their graphic. Just that energy is palpable. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to go check out that person's profile. I want to, take a look further, look at their account, look at their other content. And then that's where you can like their posts, comment on their posts authentically. Don't do it like, don't spam them with a bunch of emojis. Like, read their shit, take a look, and just really authentically engage for the purpose of engagement. Don't do it with, what can I get out of this? It's, what can you give? Authentically connect with other people through hashtags. I like to use the example of, like, if you were at an in-person networking event, you would authentically engage with those folks in person, right? Like, you would listen to what they're saying. You would want to be engaged with what they're sharing with you and authentically give your feedback and, everything else. It's no different in the online world. So when you're reading through their content, like, give the same intention and energy as you would if you were in person. Truly, that's, like, the most authentic way to do it. And so that's what I recommend doing when you are engaging with folks through hashtags, is to bring that intention of, what can I give this person? Like, what feedback can I give? What energy can I send to them through my communication with them? And again, that's the power of hashtags, that you can do that. You can send them love. You can send them positivity. You can send them, like, all of the things through engaging in hashtags, which I think is so incredible. So.
Right. See, we're all learning. They're so much more powerful than just a hashtag.
Yep. Exactly. So just to kind of, like, wrap up my 5-point thing is, I know I've given, like, a lot of numbers. I know there's so many other things. Like, this is just, like, a super brief thing. But in all honesty, forget about the numbers. Like, forget about the number of likes. Forget about, like, when you look at the analytics, forget about the analytics. Truly, don't obsess about them. Keep track of them, because it's important to see if there's patterns or anything else. But forget about the numbers, because the people who are meant to see your content are going to see your content. You do want to have that intention, set that intention, really, like, make time to create your hashtag bundles and to put that, I don't want to say put the work in, because that sounds like so hard, but essentially, like, that aligned work. You want to put that in, but then you want to, like, just like with manifesting, you set the intention, you do the work, and then, like, you let the universe handle it, So don't obsess over the number of people who have seen your posts, like, based on your hashtags or whatever else, because honestly, I feel like the more I authentically engage and I release the need for the numbers to be a certain way, like, I get so many more, like, followers out of it. I end up connecting with other folks that I'm like, oh my God, like, their page is incredible. And, the numbers don't matter. They really, really don't. It's what you can give. How am I trying to word this? I feel like my brain is just not wanting to share it. But essentially, like, the numbers don't matter. Just share authentically, do the aligned work, and then let the universe handle the rest, I guess is how I can best say it.
Yeah, no, that's great. And that is kind of one of the biggest questions I had is that you might notice that when you do start doing more aligned hashtags, you might not get as many likes. But are you going for popularity points or you're going for deep connected engagement to connect with people? Like through doing this work that you have shared, I have been in masterminds. I have done podcasts with people. I've connected and made friends with people. And do you want just more for popularity points, but might not be making any money or getting any clients or making any friends or whatever? Or do you want less, but making more deep connections? That's actually people who want to work with you, who need your medicine, and creating a bigger network, connecting. So which one do you want? And so when we take that energy, like you were saying, off the numbers, off just moreness and trying to look on the outside like you're really popular, going in and then being like, what am I really doing this for? Like you said, the intention. What intention do I want to bring? What energy do I want to put out? And then release what I cannot control.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It makes a big difference. And then it's funny too, because sometimes like when I go into my analytics, the posts that get the most like have like the least actually like conversions or like follows. But on the opposite side, the posts that get like the least amount of likes gets the most amount of like shares and saves and follows. It's interesting how that works. So it's not always about what people see on the surface. It's not about what people see on, well, depending on what angle we're talking about it. But when it comes to the popularity points.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it really is, the whole thing is all trial and error. Like I have some bundles that are incredible 1 month, and then the next month I go to use them and they're complete shit. And I'm like, okay, what happened? Let me audit this. Let me take a look. Let me see like what can shift. And a lot of it too is like, I have to look back of like, what was my intention when I was sharing this post, or what, because sometimes it's not the bundle itself. Sometimes it's just me, like my energy or my, what I brought to it when I shared it. But yeah, it is that releasing the control, the idea that we have control over it. And just, doing it from that space of alignment. Super important.
So now shifting into what do you do with hashtags when hashtags don't work in the US?
Yes. So that is an important thing to know is the current hashtag censorship that is going on is for the United States only. It's not happening internationally, thankfully. So for those who have an international niche base, still continue to use hashtags. That was like one of the most common questions that I got specifically from hashtag hub members of like, should I still use my bundles? Should I whatever? And I'm like, yes, keep using your bundles. Don't stop using hashtags, because I still used hashtags, and my numbers were a little bit lower, but I'm still getting visibility through my hashtags. One of the things that I think is really important, when I first heard about the censorship, I was frustrated. I'll be totally honest. I was like, what the hell is going on? This is ridiculous, da 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 da. I actually had a conversation with a woman of color, like a Black woman, who shared the other side of that, like the importance of it. And I once I had that conversation with her, I was able to shift my perspective. So she's like, think of all of the like scary shit that's going on, and all of the folks who like the Proud Boys, the white supremacy groups, the everything else, they're also using hashtags to organize things that shouldn't be going on, right? And sharing tons of misinformation, all of those things, to where think of the good that's happening because it's not being shared on Instagram. And I was like, okay, I'm no longer centering this on me. Like, I'm looking at the collective good that this is doing, because they are using hashtags like on Twitter, on Parler, which is like this
Yes.
new scary site. Like, truly.
I know,
So
I've been reading about that, and it's a little, yeah, it's
yeah,
concerning.
yeah, very, very concerning, to where once I shift my perspective on that, I was like, okay, there is good to this too, you
Yes.
know? Um, that being said, how can you continue to stay moving forward, keeping that forward momentum? And I really do think it is all about the intention and being able to still share your medicine. And you can, so for engagement, let's just go back to the engagement piece. You can still see past posts. It's just they're not allowing any new content to be shared with those hashtags. So when you're in your time of scheduled engagement, which I highly recommend that you schedule that into your calendar each
Yes.
week, um, you can still access those old posts, and you can still interact and engage with folks that way. I think that that's still a really important thing to continue doing, to keep that momentum moving forward, and to be able to kind of get around the current censorship that's happening. And also collaborations like you and I are doing. Reach out to other people, connect with other people. Um, and if nothing else, use this time as a time for doing the inner work. What is it that you need to be working on? And maybe put your hashtags aside for a little bit. You know, and I'm saying this as somebody who loves the hashtags, loves using them, loves sharing about them. But maybe they're not, accessible because you're supposed to be working on something else. Having something else be a focus. I'm very much aware now. That's not my upbringing, but that's a topic for a different day. I'm very much aware of like the importance of listening to intuition. So it's like, what is intuition telling you and guiding you to do right now? And focus on that.
Yes.
So yeah.
So true and so good. And as well, this is a time to really reevaluate of I think too, with instead of that whole moreness. Of course we want visibility. Of course we want to connect with people. Of course we all want our messages to be seen and heard.
Yeah.
But focus
Yeah.
on your community now. Like
Right.
connect with them now. You already have a community. Deepen that connection.
Yep.
Or go back and really hone in on that niche, like you were
Right,
saying.
right, exactly. Now is the perfect time to like get clear on who your niche is, on maybe like creating some awesome bundles and everything
Yeah,
else. So that's what I've been recommending for people to do right now, is really take it as a time to reevaluate what's currently working for you, what's not working for you, and just make those adjustments where you can.
definitely. All
Yeah.
right. So, and then of course, there's always Jordan's hashtag hub if you want
Yeah.
to go to somebody who does this work for you
Yeah.
to put them together. And is
Yeah.
there, well, I could say as well from personal direct experience, going to Jordan is amazing on so many levels. So, anything you need help with in your business back end systems and strategy needs. So, where else? So, they can reach you at the real Jordan Lane, correct? That's your
Yep.
handle. And then where else? How
Yep.
else?
So my website's currently under construction. It's kind of a hot mess right now behind the scenes. So I like blocked a lot of that. But you can find me at jordanlangco.com. That's my website. And you can sign up for hashtag hub there. Coming in January of 2021, there will be a price increase for I'm gonna add in a new tier. So there's gonna be like a top level tier. So you definitely, anybody who is a current member through the end of this year will automatically get bumped into that top tier. So you definitely want to enroll now. It's only
Awesome.
$22 a month. And your price won't change for those who are currently members, and then you'll get kind of added into that top tier. So I would definitely recommend joining. Honestly, I think it's I think it's incredible. I use it regularly myself, and I add in new hashtags weekly, and then I have a team. It's myself and two VAs who we update all of the hashtags monthly at the end of the month so that they're current. And yeah, I love it. So I love being able to provide it. I do monthly training videos. I just share, you know, my knowledge on hashtags. If people ask me questions, I share. And yeah, it's $22 a month, and there's no contract. You can opt out anytime. And it's a great way to connect with other folks too, other members for collaboration or questions or whatever. So.
Right. So yeah, if you're looking for collaborations, which as Jordan said is going to be one great way to boost your visibility and connect with others, finding a space of people who are doing similar but different types of things, just in the same maybe industry or just the online world, is going to be really helpful too.
Yep.
Do swap. IG swaps, which I'll be on Jordan's IG on the 22nd.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
So
well,
much fun.
Thank you so much. Is there anything else that you want to say before we jump off?
I don't think so. I kind of feel like we covered a lot of things. Are there any final questions? Final pieces of clarity you think folks might have?
No, I think we covered it. The big one was focusing on the numbers, but also I know quite a few people who don't use hashtags at all and then are like, why isn't my stuff growing? Well, because
that's
IG's way of growing.
Right. And you don't want to just post and ghost. Make sure you post and then you stay on to connect with other people through that warm engagement. And I use that as a time, after I post, I use it as a time to do cold engagement. So my engagement is still happening while I have a new post going up. So that's what I recommend for a lot of folks to do.
Yeah. So it'd be a super idea to go back in the beginning, grab your notebook or Google Docs and go back and just write out the steps of what Jordan shared to this. And then to go any deeper, you can reach out to her, you can connect with her, and maybe we have to do this again, talking about actual authentic connection and engagement, how that actually looks and works.
That would be awesome. Definitely.
Well, thank you so much, Jordan. I'm so glad you were here sharing this amazing needed info for any business opportunity. Yes. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.